Welcome back to the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston for the Texas High School Coaches Association Convention. I'm Mark Kusenberger with Texas Sports Productions. We're now joined by Harlan head coach Eddie Salas. Well, Coach, got to set the standard the first year there. Is it getting any easier? You start off, you make the playoffs, win a playoff game. Tell us about that first year with the Hawks.
Oh, it was great. We prior to that we had a JV season and came in 3-7, and put a lot of work. Kids worked hard, got bigger, faster, stronger, and who would have known? We came strong and had a pretty good season, and then had the opportunity to make the playoffs, and we won our first one, and had a tough game against Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial, who's
they aren't the only one. You aren't the only
they are
ones who had
great.
it tough against the
They're
Eagles.
such a great team, and so it gave us our off season. It gave us a target for us to go after, and that's you got to be a team like they were.
You have an interesting situation in that, although it was your first varsity season, as you mentioned, you had a JV team, a chance to get to know each other, and then you play varsity ball, and you're still mostly juniors and sophomores, so just about everybody is back.
Yes.
Describe how much fun that is and how much you've been able to grow because of all that experience.
Oh, I'll tell you, our whole season, it's we get to put a lot in because our kids absorb it. They're used to the system now, and it's been great. It's been fun. The whole spring ball, we installed quite a bit of things we needed, and we never felt like the kids never picked it up. They're growing with us. We're growing with them, and I'm gonna tell you, they did a great job. I'm excited for the upcoming season.
That's a little bit about what's coming back on offense. I know that Cannon Williams had some great experience for you and has a lot of tools. And that's one of 10 guys you're bringing back on the offense. So I may use up all our time if I tried to name them all. But you're welcome to because you're your players.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the defense a little bit because I know that's coming back. And they had some fine games for you.
They did. And I think for us, the strength on the defense was primarily the start of how our success was. We got some good speed and the kids flying to the ball. We keep it very simple for them to make them aggressive, and we've done great. We had some young kids. We have Jaden Jackson, who's only going to be a junior, and he started for us as a freshman, technically, and the kid's unreal. He's, 5'11" and looks like $1 million, though, and quick, fast kid. We have, Cannon Lewis, or Lewis Cannon, who's, 6'3" at the end, one end. We have, Manny Leon at the other end. It's fun to look down, look there and go, man, we got some kids coming back, and they did a great job this past year. Now they're a little bigger, a little faster, a little stronger, so.
You have an interesting situation in Harlan for a couple of reasons. First, I'll start with the fact that you came over from Holmes.
Yes.
And Holmes is right there on Loop 410 in the heart of San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Harlan. The first time I went to Harlan, I was coming by way of Hondo. Mm-hmm. And the GPS didn't take me all the way to 64, to 173. And you're driving along, there's ranches and ranches and rural. And, there's Harlan High School out of nowhere. So it's a different environment. Tell us about what makes Harlan a special situation, what you've done to bring out the best in that community, because it's rather different from Holmes, it's fair to say.
Yeah, obviously to begin with, we did pull some kids from mostly from Taft High School, and then a few from O'Connor and a few from Brennan. And so to start, we had to develop that team there and make them Harlan Hawks versus the teams they were at. But right with them, we had a great freshman class that came in, and we're all they know, and so it was a great building block, and I think everybody just bought in really quick to what we did. I think the start of it is just having a vision of branding everything with our logos, everything we have, and making the kids say, hey, you're a Harlan Hawk now. It made a difference. I think it made a quick difference early on. Obviously, having success this past year has a lot of hype in our community, a lot of excitement, especially for our middle school kids coming up. And that's what you want. You just want to bring excitement to a community, and that's what we do, and it's been great.
Another contrast between Harlan and the rest of the schools is that you're playing 5A, and I'm not really looking for differences as far as the enrollment goes so much as the fact that the other 10 schools are playing each other. One non-district game, and now you're going to be at Gus or Ferris the rest of the year. Whereas you get to go to Southwest. You get to go to Southwest Legacy, Harlandale, McCollum, Eagle Pass, Wynn, Laredo Martin. You might have some nice long bus rides along the way. And I know you're going to win this year.
Yes.
Describe the adjustment for the fact that there are rivalries there within Northside ISD, but going to a different community, going to their school, their building, that's a different challenge.
It is. And, I think to start, even on the JV season, we had to pick up so many games from everywhere. We played Pflugerville Wise. We played, Glenn. We played a bunch of schools all over the place because we had to find games, and it made us travel everywhere. And I think our kids got used to it since they were freshmen, the juniors now. And then this past year, we had 2 trips to Laredo. We had going to Floresville. We went to Del Rio. So I think we're well traveled now, and our kids are pretty comfortable doing it. And actually, this upcoming season, we'll travel over to Eagle Pass to play Wynn, and then we'll travel to Harlandale Stadium one time and Southwest Stadium one time. But the bulk of our games are at Ferris and Gus, which I'm happy with. Those are very familiar to me and the kids and close to home.
So you're not worried about taking a lap around 410 to get the team ready to play? Because we haven't been on a bus long enough to play football
exactly.
yet, Coach.
If we have to do it, we'll do it. We'll drive
Whatever
around.
it takes.
We'll drive a little further just to get them in that mindset. Yeah.
Coach Salas, what's with the miles you had on this bus ride to Harlandale?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, talk a little bit about the future because it looks like Harlan will be in 6A, and it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen, but it looks like you have 5 one district, 6 another district, and you could have some very interesting rivalries. Do you have any read of the tea leaves as to where the Harlan Hawks might be this next February?
Not really. I think obviously we'll be 6A and part of Northside, and we'll definitely be split. And I guess the interesting part is going to be where, with who. And so, I don't know, there's so many dynamics. So, you also have Del Rio and Eagle Pass High School that are very close to us. And, I say close.
Relative
speaking. Exactly. At least from San Antonio, from being as far out as we are in San Antonio. And
well, they used to be district rivals back in the early aughts. You'd have Del Rio and Eagle Pass in that district. And, if Laredo gets grouped differently, if CC Vets comes up to 6A, it could happen. You got to be ready for everything.
You got to be ready for everything. And or the bulk of us might stay together, and there's a possibility of moving 2 other people to the Northeast, That might add something else to it. So, we don't know, and I guess that's the fun part about our job. So when this season's over, we get to have a little bit of fun predicting. But at the end of it all, whatever we're dealt, we're just going to get our kids ready and have fun.
Well, even though the build up some of the programs pretty quickly, Jarvin Hall had a great season in
Absolutely.
basketball, and it took a very talented Austin Reagan team to eliminate him, as I recall.
Yeah.
I got to call that game, and I wasn't really a big fan of the fact that the teams were wearing the same colors, but I fought through it. That's broadcaster problem. That's not Coach Hall's problem.
Yeah.
So you had a whole athletic department to build as the athletic coordinator,
Yes.
and a little bit of a different situation than your peers who are basically working with each other.
Yes,
Tell us about the challenge of putting together a staff and, seeing it gel so quickly, I'm sure is very rewarding.
Yeah, very blessed. I think we were able to bring some great talent to Harlan as far as coaches are concerned. And, we have Jarvin, obviously, who I worked with at Holmes and did a great job there. Now is doing a really good job, and he's going to continue that. We had Monica Gonzalez, who came over from Brennan, had been at Reagan for volleyball, became my assistant athletic coordinator as well as our head volleyball coach. And I'm going to tell you, they're the ones to watch out for, too, this upcoming. They went 3 rounds with her first varsity season, and I think that they'll have a chance of making the state maybe a state run with the girls they got coming back. So they're going to be a pretty good bunch. Our soccer teams both made the playoffs. We have Shay Huntington, who's very experienced, was at Judson for quite a long time. We brought her over, and then we brought Atalano, Bert Atalano from Bernie, hired him. He had a lot of success there, and so, it's a constant building of all that. Gary Fletcher, who was at Clemens for cross country girls and track. J.C. Williams, who was at Holmes for track. Hit track. I mean, there's just some great talent, and I would say in just about every sport we got. And I think the hiring process it's a lot of fun to do, but it's even better hiring great people. I think all the people we hired are not win at all costs. They're very north side minded, which is go beyond the game type people, and that's who we hired, and they do a great job with kids, and my load is a lot less because of them. They do such a great job.
One last question. You got to experience, among other things, the D1, D2 split for football, which created an interesting dynamic. So your football rivals are different than your rivals in other sports. How do you think that's worked out for Harlan? And if Coach Lang asked you, should we try us for 6A, what might you suggest?
It's different because I'm in 3 different districts. As far as that, we have swim, who's in SAISD. Then we have, because of the split, obviously we got to travel more in football, and so we have our district, and then everybody else has the same one, all the other sports, and so it's made it a little complicated. I would rather go back to the we're all in the same district, and it makes it a little easier for, just the rules and the people. I talked to 3 different decks, instead of just one. So I'd like to go back and just have 6A stay the way it is.
Well, I appreciate your forthrightness, and I understand that whatever happens, however this all works out, the Harlan Hawks will be ready for the challenge, whatever the sport.
Yes.
Coach Salas, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a great season. We look forward to seeing you. We will have a Northside game of the week throughout the school year. In fact, we'll have football, basketball, and baseball, and we will certainly run across the Harlan Hawks along the way. So we look forward to seeing you, Coach.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys.
Now it's Eddie Salas, head coach of the Harlan Hawks, and I'm Mark Kusenberger. We'll be back with more on TexasSportsProductions.com from the Texas High School Coaches Association.